My name is Thys. I'm a photographer for the Times newspaper. I've been working as a photojournalist for the last 13 odd years of my life, and ended up doing an assignment in Hillbrow, which is never immediately a great prospect, but having heard that it was going to be a feature on Ponte, I was actually quite excited. It's a building that sort of defines Johannesburg, and without it, it's a little bit like New York skyline. Without the Twin Towers, it just wouldn't be the same to see Johannesburg without Ponte. So I was quite excited. Although I've heard a lot of thriller stories, really terrible things about Ponte, a place where people commit suicide. And in the center of this building, I've heard once that there were 5 stories of rubbish that has accumulated over a number of years. So I set off, eventually I photographed the designer, the original designer of the building, or architect, which is this gentleman. His name is Mr. Grosskopf. We were shown through an ad agency who was doing an ad campaign to promote Ponte, since it has a brand new owner. It's proposed to be revamped to the extent where it will be high living once again. So there are these wonderful penthouse flats it's literally 3 flats, one on top of the other, that's all connected with a staircase. Some of them have saunas. It's quite remarkable. The image of the people sitting on the balcony is probably my favorite picture, simply because it's so out of place. It just seems so out of place. And when you look at Ponte, you never imagine there's a balcony slap bang in the middle of which it really isn't. It's not a balcony. It's actually a lift, an elevator shaft, the top of an elevator shaft. Fantastic views from high up, about 55 floors or so. And I ventured onto the very, very top of the building, where the Vodacom sign is. It's rather amazing to stand on top there and look down. You literally have a view of Johannesburg from one end to the other. What I like about flats, and I don't really like living in them, but there's something about them that I like, and it's the close proximity of people. Things like children's voices singing or playing behind closed doors. It will inevitably remind one of, and me specifically, of my childhood, because we did grow up as a family in a flat. And the smell, when people cook, there's this collective smell that runs through the corridors of a building. It's always a little bit eerie and a little bit bizarre to me. There were aspects about the building I really enjoyed. Little bits of detail that you didn't expect to see. This is not really there in as much as it's part of a set for a photographic shoot promoting Ponte. I have no doubt there are flowers around Ponte, but it's an interesting building at this moment in time, because it doesn't seem like there's many life forms other than humans inside there at this moment in time. Sweet picture. I love this photograph, this child peering over her mother's shoulder. I can't imagine it being easy to live there. At one stage, I stood there for about a half an hour by the lifts. One of the 4 functional lifts were stuck, and somebody was just literally absolutely ringing away at this thing, obviously out of panic, being stuck in a lift in this very, very tall building. I just can't imagine it being, as it is now, easy living in this building, and almost inevitably foreign people from neighboring countries living in Ponte. Without fail, people that I met were all polite. This is a Zimbabwean family's flat. They were the nicest people I've met for a while. Boys just playing in such small spaces. I mean, it's just so bizarre, really. They had this absolute full-on soccer game going and having loads of fun, but it couldn't have been more than 5 meters square. I wouldn't mind going back to Ponte, photographing the new Ponte. It would be fantastic to see whether the developers actually get this project off the ground and make it a more pleasant place to live. What I did find sad is that a whole lot of people can't afford to live there suddenly anymore, and it used to be considered a bit of a dump, and people held on to accommodation simply because it's not easy to come by.